Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Imagine, just for a second, that you're a tycoon who just bought a state-of-the-art AI data center. I want you to mentally look around your brand new empire. You've got these endless rows of glowing server racks stretching out as far as the eye can see, and there's this deep, bone-rattling hum of machinery that's just pushing the absolute limits of modern physics. The air is thick with anticipation, and let's be real, it's literally thick with heat. Right now, some of the biggest, most aggressive tech companies on the planet are begging to sign a contract with you. I mean, they are desperate to put their world-changing AI models inside your building. And they're willing to pay a premium that makes traditional commercial real estate look like a neighborhood lemonade stand. You are sitting on what could very well be the single most lucrative real estate play of the 21st century. But before you go crowning yourself the next Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, there's a bit of a dirty little secret the tech bros aren't exactly advertising. Despite housing the world's most advanced AI models, your new empire, it isn't actually about technology at all. It's about raw, unadulterated power. Seriously, if you don't truly grasp the nature of the facility you just bought, this modern gold rush will bankrupt you before you've even plugged in your very first server. You're going to be dealing with brutal physical limitations, massive infrastructure costs, and resource management on a scale you probably never even imagined. You really need to reframe how you look at your own asset, because the rules of your typical tech startup simply do not apply here. You see, most people think owning an AI data center means you're some sort of prodigy genius coding the next ChatGPT in a chaotic, pizza box-filled startup office. Well, you're not. Your tenants, we're talking absolute giants like Microsoft, Meta, or these massive multi-billion-dollar AI startups. They bring all of their own servers, their own proprietary software, and their own brilliant engineers. Your job is surprisingly simple in concept, but incredibly difficult in execution. You, my friend, are fundamentally a high-tech landlord. Your sole purpose in this entire equation is providing a never-ending, highly secure, and perfectly climate-controlled box of power and cooling. You're the host, and if the environment isn't absolutely perfect, the entire multi-million-dollar party crashes. So, why is this so hard? Well, the fundamental shift in this industry comes down to the chips themselves. Modern AI hardware like NVIDIA's insanely famous H100 GPUs, they run incredibly hot and consume an unprecedented amount of electricity compared to the chips we had even just 10 years ago. Because of this massive power draw, your facility has completely transformed from a mere warehouse storing rows of quiet hard drives into a literal power plant. This is the paradigm shift you absolutely must grasp to survive. You aren't just storing data in the cloud anymore, you are managing a high-stakes, hyper-concentrated energy grid under a single roof, and your margin for error is absolutely zero. Okay, let's move into Section 1, the 3 silent killers, and how you actually survive your new AI empire. We have to face the reality of the business and look at the massive threats hiding in your balance sheet. The first silent killer threatening to bankrupt you is what we call the power trap. To put this into perspective, a traditional data center from the dot-com era uses about 10 megawatts of power. Your new AI facility? It demands a staggering 50 to 100 megawatts. To really grasp that scale, 100 megawatts is enough to power an entire small city of roughly 80,000 homes. The massive problem here is the local power grid. It simply doesn't have that kind of excess capacity just sitting around waiting to be sucked up by a single building. You can't just pick up the phone, call the local utility company, and say, hey, flip the switch. No way. You have to take extreme, massively expensive measures. We're talking about building your own dedicated substations, negotiating multi-million-dollar power purchase agreements, or in some wild cases, actually building on-site natural gas power plants or nuclear microreactors. And why go to these extremes? Because training a massive AI model takes months of continuous, unbroken calculation. If your power drops for even a millisecond, that training run can be instantly corrupted. The tenant loses months of work and millions of dollars. And guess what? You are on the hook for massive financial penalties. It is an astonishingly high-stakes game. All right, moving on to killer number 2, the heat death. Because these AI chips consume so much electricity, they generate a terrifying amount of heat. Traditional air conditioning, just pumping cold air through the room, is physically incapable of cooling them down. If you rely on fans, the entire multi-million-dollar setup will literally cook itself into slag. So this forces you into a complete plumbing overhaul. You actually have to install direct-to-chip liquid cooling. This means building a highly complex, leak-proof, high-tech plumbing system inside the computers themselves, pumping specialized coolants directly over the processors just to keep the whole place from catching fire. Then there's the third threat, The depreciation clock. But actually, scratch that. This is where we find the hidden genius of your business model. You see, the highly advanced AI hardware sitting inside your racks loses its value incredibly fast. A cutting-edge GPU might be completely obsolete in just 18 months, ticking down like a rapid countdown timer as newer, faster chips hit the market. But remember, you don't own that depreciating hardware. Your tenants do. You just own the physical foundation, the concrete, the steel, the heavy-duty power lines, and the industrial cooling systems. Your infrastructure has a lifespan of 20 to 30 years, and it actually becomes more valuable every single day as high-capacity power becomes scarcer.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, the payoff, or as I like to call it, the picks and shovels strategy.
So if the barriers and threats to running one of these facilities are so extreme, the reward must be astronomical, right? Oh, for sure it is. Despite these brutal challenges, every billionaire and private equity firm on Earth is trying to buy your building. Why? Well, think back to history. During the 1849 gold rush, the people who made the most reliable fortunes weren't the miners desperately panning for gold in the river. It was the people selling the picks, the shovels, and the jeans. You aren't gambling on which AI model will ultimately win the tech war. You are selling the digital water and the picks to absolutely everyone who is digging in the dirt. Your absolute secret weapon in this gold rush is something called a triple net lease. Imagine a 10 to 15-year ironclad contract where the tenant handles the property taxes, the building insurance, and all of the maintenance. Now, why on earth would a tech giant agree to a deal like that? Because they are utterly desperate for the electrical capacity you hold. They've got billions in funding and literally nowhere to plug their machines in. So they sign the triple net lease, taking on all the operational overhead. Your role in this? You just sit back and collect the massive rent checks, completely insulated from the day-to-day chaos of maintaining the grounds. You have effectively built a permanent toll booth on the AI information superhighway. Every single query typed into a chatbot, every AI-generated image, and every line of automated code generated by your tenants drops a guaranteed fraction of a cent directly into your bank account for the next decade. And here is the absolute best part. It doesn't matter if the tenant's new AI software is a brilliant, world-changing masterpiece or a completely hallucinated, worthless scam. The data must still be processed, the power must still be consumed, and you still get paid. You've created an incredibly reliable cash flow machine.
Let's move into Section 3, the monopoly, and building an unbreachable moat.
In business, a moat protects your economic castle from invaders, and yours is particularly deep and treacherous. Your digital empire is protected by brutal barriers to entry. I mean, you can't just casually decide to enter this market in your garage. Competitors need hundreds of millions of dollars in upfront capital just to break ground. Then they face nightmare regulatory hurdles. Getting a local municipality to agree to let you siphon off massive percentages of their municipal water and power grid, that can take years of legal battles, assuming they ever even say yes. Plus, you need incredibly rare, world-class technical expertise to actually design those cooling systems we talked about.
So because it is so incredibly difficult, expensive, and time-consuming to build a new AI-ready data center from scratch, the value of your existing fully operational facility just absolutely skyrockets. You are holding an extraordinarily scarce asset in a world where the global demand for compute power is going completely vertical. Essentially, you've been handed a digital real estate monopoly. Owning an AI data center isn't about writing code or inventing the future. It's about ruthlessly owning and restricting access to the physical foundation that the entire future relies on. Scarcity drives price, and right now, you hold all the cards.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on. If you had $100 million today, would you chase the hype and try to build an AI software company? Or would you follow the smart money and buy the physical foundation it's all built on? While everyone gets distracted by the shiny new AI tools and the endless hype cycle, the real winners in this gold rush might just be the digital landlords holding the keys to the power grid. Definitely something to think about the next time you ask an AI a question. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.